technique of fabric dyeing called tie-dye has been practiced for several centuries in the Gambia. Before the introduction of chemical dye, people used natural products to extract colors used to create colorful fabrics with different patterns of uncolored space. My Gambia attended a workshop organized by Adama Jata, the founder of the association Violence Against Girls. This workshop trained young girls and women on the techniques of traditional dyeing. Natural products such as onion, kola nut, the bark of mahogany tree, and the chemical indigo dye were used. Onion is one of the most known and worldwide used vegetables. It is a must-have ingredient in the preparation of almost every dish in the Gambia. But apart from that, it can also be used as a source for fabric color preparation. The skin of the onion is used to dye fabric in light brown and yellowish green color. After collecting the coats of the onion, they are washed thoroughly. And to let the colors out, the skin is boiled for 1 or 2 hours. When the water turns dark brown, it is ready for the mixing. The onion is separated from the water using a sieve or a cup. After the onion liquid cools down, it is mixed with small amount of salt and vinegar. Salt allows the dye to penetrate the fabric and embed the colors of the pigment into the fabric permanently, while vinegar allows the colors of the dye to pop out on the material. The fabric is folded inwards to create a band, then it is folded again into a small rectangular patterns. The middle is tightly tied with a cotton thread to stop the dye from penetrating the whole fabric. The liquid is divided into two in order to create two colors. The first color is a light brown, which is the natural color of the onion, while the second color is achieved by adding alum stone to the water. Alum stone turns a dark brown fluid into a lighter version, bringing out the yellowish green color on the fabric. When the thread is removed from this fabric, it forms a wave of horizontal rectangular patterns of brown, yellowish green, and white. Indigo blue dye is a chemical dye that gives fabric a distinct blue color, which in the Gambia is known as the color of the traditional clothes of the Fula tribe. In the past, the indigo blue dye was extracted from leaves of indigofera tree. However, today the chemical compound is used for coloring. The indigo blue powder is put in a warm water with salt, alum stone, and vinegar. The mixture is covered and left for 24 hours. After 24 hours, the fabric is prepared before dipping into the blue dye. The fabric is folded into a pattern of choice, then wet in warm water before dipping into the dye bath. The material first turns green and turns darker blue when it comes in contact with oxygen. After this, the threads are removed to reveal the blue and white patterns. After that, it is rinsed and aired to dry. Farah is the mahogany tree. The bark of the tree is used for many purposes in the Gambia. It can be a medicine or the main part of the costume for the kankurang. However, it can also be used as a dye for textiles. The bark of the mahogany produces a brown color when used as dye. To let the color surface, it is beaten on a hard place with stone and stick. This allowed the orange pigments to surface. The bark is then washed to remove sand from it and later boiled for 3 or 4 hours. The longer it simmers, the darker the color. When it is boiled, it is removed from the fire and prepared. While the tinted water cools down, the fabric is folded using yet another technique to give a new variation of pattern. When the liquid is cold, salt is added and the fabric is dipped into the dye bath, where it stays for a few hours to ensure the intensive and darker color. After this, it is rinsed and the threads are removed to show the patterns. Colourful is an important part of the Gambian society. Many documentaries has been made as to its use in the Gambia. However, the other use of the colourful, which is not very famous outside West Africa, is the colourful dye. The colourfuls are put in a mortar and pounded with pestle. The powder from the crushed colourfuls is sieved in a big bowl, then water is added and infused for hours, making the color turn bright orange. The fabric is folded into another variation of pattern. It is then dipped into the dye bath several times. After that, it is rinsed and the threads are removed to reveal a bright orange cloth with a white pattern.